Let's start with Senator Locke.
Good morning, how are you? And I'm not going to belabor the point because I am under no delusions as to what's going to happen to this amendment. Because it's too early in the morning for me to waste my time or yours. So you know what this amendment does, and that's all I got to say.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Locke. I know that there are people here to speak on this amendment, but we have already heard testimony fully on this in its exact form. It's also the case that we will be for the next one on Senate Joint Resolution 5. But if there are folks that would like to speak about this, we can we want to limit this to 2 minutes, but we'll take comments from the committee. Delegate Van Valkenburg.
Yeah, speaking to this amendment, Mr. Chair.
You have the floor.
Thank you. We didn't get I didn't speak the last time this came around, and so I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't say my piece on this, because we talk. When you look at the history of Virginia and you think about second chances, we haven't exactly been a model state, but when we think about second chances, we typically think about it in terms of the criminal justice system itself proper, or we talk about economic second chances. We don't often talk about the fact that this really isn't, in some ways, this isn't even really about second chances. This is just about decency and dignity and citizenship. And in 1902, when they put these things, these barriers to voting in the Constitution with the intent of keeping people from citizenship, Virginia was the worst democracy in the country. I've said the quote before, but there's the guy who said, we made Mississippi look like a hotbed of democracy. And this is one of those last pieces that comes out of that era, and it's just not right. We should not be in the business of taking people's citizenship from them, which is what this is doing, because you're not a fully participating citizen if you can't participate, if you can't vote. And so I would hope that I know we didn't pass the other one, but I would hope we would pass this one, because we should not be in the business of telling people that they can't participate in a country that is theirs. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Delegate Van Valkenburg. All right, anyone in the audience to speak in favor of the bill? We're going to limit testimony to a total of 2 minutes on this issue. So understand morning. That's what we've got going. So
thank you very much. Appreciate what you said, Delegate Van Valkenburg. My name is Richard Walker. I'm founder, CEO of a nonprofit organization that helps and assists individuals to get their rights restored. I've probably assisted over 10,000 individuals since I got my rights restored back in 2012 by former Republican Governor Bob McDonnell. And I've been on a mission ever since for this legislation or this constitutional amendment to be added to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia. It makes sense. It's legislation from 1902, as the delegate said, and it was understood that this was a way to disenfranchise African Americans from voting. And it's high time that Virginia gets rid of that stigma, being one of the toughest states when it comes to individuals coming out of incarceration that made a mistake. It's one thing to be punished for the fault that you've done, but it's another thing to be left on punishment for the rest of your life. And that's what's happening here in the Commonwealth of Virginia if we do not make this amendment a part of our Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We've got about 45 seconds left.
Good morning, Chairman. My name is Lee Williams. I'm co-director of Green New Deal Virginia and the advocacy chair for the Sierra Club Falls of the James Committee. We urge you to support this bill. It is the right thing to do.
Good morning, members of the committee. Sean Winetta, speaking on behalf of the ACLU of Virginia and our 100,000 members. We do support this amendment. I am also a returning citizen, so this is personal for me. One of the proudest moments I had was when I was able to vote this last election, so we ask you to support this amendment. Thank you.
Good morning, Angela Inglet with Prison Fellowship, and again, we strongly support this resolution, and we ask that you allow it to move forward to the ballot and give Virginians a voice in this conversation. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Jeff Caruso with the Virginia Catholic Conference. We support this resolution. We think it's an important matter of justice for those who have served their sentences, full reentry into society, and participation in political decisions is a very important thing, and we think people should be able to do that to the fullest extent possible. Thank you.
Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? Hearing none, the committee acts by motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to report.
Have a motion to report. Okay, have a motion PPI. Is there a second?
What a surprise.
Okay, so we have a motion, superior motion to pass by indefinitely. Everybody will vote on board. And pass by vote of 6-4. All right, next up we have Senate Resolution 5. Senator Evan.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Virginia has evolved since 1607. We've evolved since 2006 when we stained our Constitution with the so-called marriage amendment, and I'm going to give this committee a chance to evolve since you made a mistake a few weeks ago. This amendment does a simple but momentous thing. Our Constitution, the foundational document of our oldest democracy in the Western world, only once deprives citizens of a right, and that's in the Bill of Rights, the right to marry the person you love. SJ 5 removes that stain and permanently enshrines this right, safeguarding it for Virginians regardless of their sex or gender. It provides a fundamental dignity and equality to our friends, family, and neighbors, and to me. It reflects the will of a supermajority of Virginians. It is time to let the voters take action on this amendment. We've earned that right, and it's wrong for a small group of legislators to deny the people of Virginia the right to make that decision. We know what they feel. Let's send it to the ballot. Thank you.
Senator, any comments from the committee? Right. Hearing none. Again, we will limit this to 2 minutes total because we have heard the testimony on this extensively in previous meetings. So anyone here to speak in favor of the bill? Again.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Narissa Rahman, Executive Director of Equality Virginia. I'm here in support of this bill. I'm here also thinking of folks like Carol Shaw and Mary Townley who have spent decades building a life, a foundation of hopes and dreams and happiness and love. And I know those folks, and along with me and many others, want to see our Constitution reflect those hopes and dreams for everyone who deserve the right to be married. And, marriage equality is the law of the land. What I'm asking you here today is to leave that decision to the Virginia voters in November on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Jonathan Iglesias with the Virginia Sexual and Domestic Violence Action Alliance. On behalf of our 67 sexual and domestic violence agencies who serve LGBTQ survivors of violence, we wholeheartedly support this measure. We understand that homophobia and other forms of oppression are linked to sexual and domestic violence, and that a world free of sexual and domestic violence includes one in which our full humanity is recognized in our state constitution, and we urge you to support this measure.
And we have Mr. Ryder online?
Yes, Bruce Ryder, Arlington. The Constitution of our Commonwealth is where we put our highest collective ideals, not our basest rational fears. The current Constitution has a marriage provision that does not provide for the equal protection of the laws and can never be conformed to do so. That language is there because of irrational fear, and nothing in our experience as a Commonwealth in the last 7 years since it was struck down has shown us that that fear was ever justified. The voters of the Commonwealth, all of them, regardless of religious declaration, deserve the right to honor our highest collective ideals, to correct this error, and to heal this wound. Please send SJ 5 to the House floor for a full and fair vote to make that so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ryder. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the measure? And limiting to 2 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Jeff Caruso with the Virginia Catholic Conference. We affirm the dignity of every person. We also believe marriage has an original design and purpose that predates any nation, religion, or law. This is reflected in our state constitution in a provision decided by voters in 2006. If you believe, as we do, that marriage is the union of one man and one woman and that we should preserve this original design, please vote to continue reflecting that in our state constitution. Please oppose this resolution. Thank you for considering our views.
Eddie Ayla, Virginia Assembly of Independent Baptists, understanding the concerns that we have for what marriage should be, we continue to stand for traditional marriage, biblical marriage, and for the values that we've upheld all these years. Thank you.
All right, Delegate Van Valkenburg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Briefly speaking to the amendment.
You have the floor.
Thank you. You know, it strikes me that our Constitution stands for all people and the dignity of all people, not just people who believe in a traditional biblical marriage, which I don't even think is necessarily a historically accurate thing. But, you know, history already doesn't look kindly on this amendment, and it's only been a decade, and history is not going to look kindly on us if we keep it in there. And so I would hope that we would send this to the voters, and I would hope they would have a say, because I think what we'll see is that they will decisively vote to take this amendment out of our Constitution. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Delegate. All right. Committee operates by motion.
Move to report.
Motion to report in a second. So we'll go to the board. Motion fails to report on a vote of 4 to 6. So, all right. Thank you. Now, and as a result of the actions that we have just taken, there are 3 bills on our docket: Senate Bill 21, Senate Bill 767, and both of those are related to Senate Resolution 1, and then we also have Senate Bill 557 related to Resolution 5. Those would be out of order at this point, and so I would entertain a motion to pass by indefinitely those 3 in a block. All right, so we have those in a block to pass by. Everybody please vote on the board. Motion to pass by passes on a vote of 6 to 4. All right, moving on. Now we have Senator Evan. Excuse me, Senator Evan. We also have for you Senate Bill 273.
That's correct. This has to do with the absentee ballot return envelope. There was a work group from the Department of Elections comprised of general registers, electoral board members, and representatives from the Republican and Democratic parties of Virginia that considered alternatives to the witness signature requirement. Right now, we're one of just 8 states that requires a witness signature. What they came up with is to provide either the witness signature or that you could use the last 4 digits of your Social Security number and your birth date if you didn't have a witness present. We know that there were lots of ballots that were thrown out because in the last election, when it started, we were under the pandemic rule that you didn't need a witness signature, but by the time of the election, you did need the witness signature. So this provides that alternative for the envelope. The report stated that this option provides a secure and accurate means of confirming a voter's identity that is also for easy for election officials to administer. And I should mention that there are about 300 voters in Virginia, for whatever reason, don't have a Social Security number, and the bill provides for a unique identifying number to be generated by the Board of Elections. It could even be their voter ID number that they would provide in lieu of the last 4 of the Social Security number if they didn't have a witness. So I ask for your consideration for this bill that passed on a bipartisan vote of 40 to nothing in the Senate.
Senator Evan, I believe this is substantively similar to Delegate Bloxham's House Bill 177.
There are some similarities.
Similarities to that. And I think it's been our practice to conform bills and then work everything out in conference as we're moving forward. So do I have a motion to conform this bill to House Bill 177? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All right, so that bill is conformed. That'll be a substitute at this point, right? So we will have that as a substitute. Any questions for the patron? Anyone in favor of the bill to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone speak in opposition? Committee operates by motion. Motion and second to report the substitute. So everyone please vote on the board. Everyone voted? Okay. Almost there. I think we got everybody there now. Okay. And motion to report passes 8-2.
Thank you, Mr.
Senator.
Chairman.
All right. And then finally, this morning, we have Senate Bill 652, Delegate Vogel. And I don't believe she is here. So this is an absentee voting application requirement. Again, last four digits of the Social Security number. I think there is a line amendment, Meg, that we need to take up on this. You want to report the amendment for us on that?
Mr. Chairman, for SB 652, the substitute, at the beginning of line 33, we're going to strike the and insert and then line 33 after application, we'll insert not completed in person in the office of the general registrar. This is a technical line amendment to address a conflict with another code section.
Okay. Someone want to move the amendment? Okay. Second? Is there a second? Thank you. And all in favor? Aye. All right. The amendment is properly before us. Anyone have any comments or questions about this bill? I think we're going to act favorably on this. I'm anticipating, so I don't know that we need to. If we want to, if you'd like to explain it, Meg, and let us hear about that just to know. So.
SB 652 provides that the last four digits of a Social Security number do have to be provided on a mailed absentee ballot application, and that if a voter or an applicant does not include those last four digits, that is a material omission, which would negate the application.
So, okay. That is the bill. And after that, so we've got a motion to report as amended and a second. So everyone, please vote on the board. And motion to report passes on a vote of 7-3. All right. Well, that completes our docket for this morning. I want to thank the committee. I think this will wrap us up for this session. So the committee will rise.